Now it's working. Hello, good afternoon, buenas tardes. Bueno, vamos a esperar que se conecten algunas personas. Let's wait until some people get connected. And we're going to have our guest today, Mahdi Al Own, owner of the Project Kuwait Podcast. Hola, Gaby. Bueno, hoy tenemos una entrevista que va a ser en inglés con uno de los fundadores de un podcast que hay aquí en Kuwait. Vamos a esperar a que se conecte. Pero va a ser en inglés. It's going to be in English, okay, the interview today. And let me Ahora, hello.
Hola. Hello. How are you?
Hola, muy bien.
What is it? So is it Buenos Dias? Is that hello or
That's good morning.
okay? All right. So I guess
Yeah,
it's
so
not good
now,
morning. Well,
now,
we are
bueno, now it's buenas tardes. Good
Buenos
afternoon.
tardes. Good
Yeah, buenas
afternoon.
tardes. Yeah.
So how
Good,
are
good.
you?
You go.
How are you?
You're so
How are
used to be
you?
the interviewer.
It's so true. How are you guys
Yeah,
holding up in the
it's
whole
good.
lockdown?
Locked. No, yeah, we tried to go walk in the times that we are able to, a few days, and we did the challenge as well. That was keep me busy on the social media, and we've been planning different things. Like honestly, I'm writing an ebook and doing some packages for workouts, so I can kind of give free knowledge of the things that I'm learning and how to get more conscious and whatever's going on right now, to personal development stuff and reading. Otherwise, I
Yeah.
don't want to say I will go crazy, but it's time to do things that you say you don't have as much time to do, which I saw
Yeah.
some of your videos were also about it. Well, you've been busy.
I've been trying. Like I'll be honest with you, the last I'd say week and a half, I've been in such a rut, because of this whole lockdown thing, and with a 5-year-old son, it's so hard to stay motivated the whole time. So I mean, for me, the only thing that's kept me sane, and luckily, I thank God, we're staying at my in-laws' house. They have a pretty big house, and they were kind enough to let us use their outside area to set up like a home gym, so to speak. So
Yeah.
that's the only thing that's really kept me sane. But I mean, other than that, it's tough. Mentally, this thing's been tough. So you're right.
Yeah.
Staying busy is where it's at right now.
It's staying busy but not overloading, so where you actually have time to find yourself. That's the main point. Because usually we talk a lot about mental stuff. Let me welcome you first. Thank you so much for letting me interview you, and congratulations for being almost the most downloaded podcast in Kuwait. I mean, as I don't know if any of you know them, but this is Mahdi. He is the CEO of founder of the Project Kuwait Podcast. And how
Co-founder,
much?
just to cor- just
Co-
just to correct it,
no,
co-founder, yeah,
all right,
co-founder,
co-founder. The only one I know, so. And
yeah.
I don't know. I saw the note that you did, and I got very excited and happy about it. And I thought, damn, nobody interviews the interviewer. And I was just getting onto this thing, interviewing people that actually had some wisdom to share to the moment. And I had so much fun when was interviewed by you, and we went deep in certain topics that for me are essential, which is not only workout, it's everything mentally that takes you there. Because as I always say, okay, you might want bigger glutes, but it doesn't matter how much you train to get bigger glutes if your mind and your emotion is not set up in the same path. You can do 10,000 reps, whatever, but if you're not feeling good, you're not eating good, you're not sleeping good, you're not going to reach. And just sharing that with you was good to see a lot of those things.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm glad. I mean, definitely your episode has a lot of knowledge bombs in it, and I definitely learned a lot from it. And hopefully, we're going to launch it soon. Just with all the Corona stuff that we did over the last month, it's pushed a lot of the episodes back. So,
Yeah.
bear with me. I mean, like I got a bunch of messages like, dude, when are we launching my episodes? I'm like, I'm sorry, man, but we're trying to move things as fast as possible. And, we had some issues with our sound guy because he's in a different country. We do all of our editing outside of Kuwait. Like our team,
Uh-huh.
we all work together, and it's just things got bottled up. There was a bottleneck in the pipeline. So now we're starting to kind of flow a little bit easier than we were before. So to all of your followers, watch out for her episode. It had a lot of knowledge bombs. I loved it. One of my favorite interviews, to be honest with you. It was so good to
No,
see the
thank you
fresh
so much.
perspective from the bodybuilding side, to be honest with you.
Mm. Yeah, we kind of have different things like strength coaching and strength conditioning, which is it's good to mix everything around. It just makes a different perspective. But like I started just by isolating everything, and then I learned all the functional things from the multi joint and the strength and things
Yeah.
I didn't believe in. Honestly, I didn't really care, and it really helped me to develop a lot. But we're here for you. So tell me a little bit about
Yeah, no,
you.
don't let me do that. Don't let me flip it around. I'm so used
Yeah,
to interviewing
I'll do my
people and
best.
asking questions. And I got that on the last interview that I was on because this guy was Ray Amudo. He was interviewing me, and he was like, he would ask me a question, and then I bounce it back with a question. I'm like, he's like, don't worry, man. You're being interviewed here. I'm like, I'm sorry, dude. I'm just so used to it.
Yeah, I see. I'll do my best to flip it back. So tell us about you. I really want to know your story because you were an ex-baseball player, you're a certified trainer
Yeah,
and
well,
coach.
yeah, I mean, it started at a young age. I mean, I grew up around sports. I had an older brother. My best friends were all athletes. We all played sports growing up. And, I used to be, I actually started in gymnastics when I was about 8 years old. It was gymnastics where I used to go to a club here in Kuwait club. And then I went into diving, like diving off a diving board, flips,
Yeah.
stuff like that. So I did that until I was 12, and I found out there was a baseball league here in Kuwait. And I signed up for baseball at the same time, still played soccer, basketball, every sport under the moon. Um, and then I played for the first Kuwait national team that went to the Little League Regional World Series, the Little League regional titles in 1997, which was awesome. That was a big honor to play on that first team. Um, and then after that, I moved back to the United States, and that's when I started playing college ball. So I played some college ball. I played in rec leagues, leagues around the Massachusetts area, and kind of stuck with it. And it's just baseball is like my number one sport. It's always been a passion of mine, and that's where I found weightlifting. When I was 16, I went to my uncle, and I said, Aziz, I want to get stronger for baseball. So his thing was like, all right, when you can do 20 push-ups, that's when you can start benching. So I worked my way up to the 20 push-ups. And then he took me to the first gym, which was in Jabriya. And he was like, all right, here you go. Here's your membership. Obviously back then it was like 18. I was 16, I think, maybe even 16 and a half, 15. I have no idea. And he was like, just be quiet. Don't tell him your age. Don't worry. So I went in there, and that's when I kind of first started working out. And then I went to college, played some college ball, and learned more about working out and, different exercise modalities and what to do. And, and then I fell into the trap of the bodybuilding trap. And, I was bodybuilding from, I'd say 22 to about 25, which was great because I never knew it, but I was doing functional training. I was doing functional bodybuilding back then because I couldn't rest. I didn't know how to do the whole 60 seconds rest or the whole 2 minutes rest. And I was just like, this is too
Difficult.
boring. Yeah, it's so boring. We didn't have phones back then. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't like we could scroll on Instagram.
You
So
just flex in the mirror.
yeah, that was it. And I was always like, why are these guys flexing around? Why aren't they lifting more weights? And here I am, like, I do, I never even knew that I was doing, trisets and, split sets and all that stuff because information wasn't as accessible. And one of my things was like, all right, you know what? Let me pair up biceps and traps. Back then my big thing was having big traps. That was my, You know, that was my bread and butter. I think I did it every day. And it was just amazing. And, you know, doing that. And then, unfortunately, I got a little bit into the steroid scene. I'd met a trainer. He was like, hey, you want to see your gains go through the roof? Here's some Winstrol. And, you know, I tried it for 3 weeks. Or, no, it was about 2 months, sorry. And it was a month later where my strength went through the roof. I was absolutely shredded. And one day I was just like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm not a professional bodybuilder. There's no point, you know, and dumped it out. And then my strength went down. So I took some time off. And, you know, it's just been, it was a roller coaster of a ride after that. Then I got married, you know, put on about maybe 30 kilos. I was at my peak was 120 kilos.
Wow.
Yeah. And then at the age of, I'd say 32, 33, that's when I started getting my rear end in gear, so to speak, and got back into the fitness, the bodybuilding scene, found bodybuilding was kind of boring at the time. So I switched up to the functional side of it, doing functional bodybuilding to just, because you want to do something that you enjoy. You know, that's one thing that I didn't understand then, which I get now, is I didn't enjoy the process of what I was doing. Whereas when I got into the functional bodybuilding, I mean, and we talked about this a little bit, I enjoyed the splits of doing one day of, you know, bodybuilding. Then the next day I was doing HIIT, you know, high intensity training, whether it was wind sprints, jump rope, ladder drills, trying to come up with new skills too, which I loved. And then now, unfortunately, I'm into CrossFit.
Yeah, it's I found it so dangerous, the CrossFit side. I did it for a while, and then I just did a photo shoot, and that was my CrossFit story. I have a lot of respect by going as many reps you can, and my body is just in another league.
But in all honesty, I used to have the same mentality on CrossFit. I only do CrossFit because I love to compete. Competing is in my DNA. And, you know, that's one thing I just love to do, whether it's competing against myself or going into these competitions at my age. And with CrossFit, I too thought you would get hurt every time you step in to do a WOD or whatever. And it comes down to the trainer. And, you know, my coach, I'm lucky, understands me, and he's brought me back through 2 torn labrums. He rehabbed me back, and it was one day I looked at him 2 years ago and I said, Rob, you know, dude, I want to do CrossFit competitively. And he laughed at first and he said, you know, it's taken me 5 years to get to where I am. And I said, my goal is to get to where you are by the age of 45. And we've done it so slow, and the process has been so gradual. You know, doing the boring stuff like ring rows. You know what I mean? Like just doing the really boring, mundane little drills that I don't show on Instagram that I do almost every day. And that's what gives me the ability to get to doing that high, you know, the high number of reps or the high volume, because my body's conditioned for it. You know, you know that, like conditioning, once you condition your body, you can get to that state. It's just the person that goes into a class and starts doing snatches right away. That's who gets hurt, you know, when the trainer doesn't stop them. But I mean, the whole CrossFit bodybuilding thing, I won't get into that. I could talk for hours on that one.
But you did mention something very good, the rest intervals and the rest periods, and how difficult it is sometimes to stop. Like in bodybuilding, I rest about 1 minute, depends. Like I check my heart rate, but when I got into strength coaching and my coach told me to rest 4 minutes, 5 minutes for a set of 3 repetitions, I was like, you have to be joking. And people will see me in the gym like 5 minutes, you're going to cool down. I don't know, I'm following the paper. Like, I trust this guy. If this is strength, then I do strength. But yeah, the rest is like a big, what do you think?
I honestly, my wife is a power lifter. So I laugh at her all the time because she takes like 5 minutes between sets, and I make fun of her all the time. And you know, one thing my coach told me, and we talked about this a couple of weeks ago on a video call. I wasn't feeling as strong underneath the bar when I was going into my squats. So he knows, I think he has an idea of how quick I like to work. So he actually prescribed, he was like 2 minutes rest between sets. He put that in my program. He never really puts rest in there. Like he depends on me to put my rest in, but I've been so quick and, yell, I want to get it done, that he's been putting the rest in the rest periods. And I think it comes down to, for people like me, discipline. To discipline yourself to rest for that 1 minute, 30 seconds or that 2 minutes. And then there are the other people on the flip side that take the 5 minutes rest or 6 minutes. And I don't understand that, because my body, and everyone's different. I say it on the podcast all the time. My body's very different from your body to my wife's body to, the power lifters that you see on TV. Sometimes they require more, less rest. It depends on your muscle density, so many factors. And I like to stay warm. As soon as I feel like I'm getting cold, that's when I'm like, oh no, I waited too long. And then I go back into it, I get under the bar and I just doesn't sit right, and it's been a process, but I always learn every session. And that's one thing I've learned the last 2 weeks, is to make sure I get the adequate amount of rest between sets, especially the heavy squats. I mean, It's very important, I think nowadays, for people to understand, even when you're doing the HIIT workouts. Like I used to do HIIT when I do my wind sprints. I would sprint 90 to 95%, 100 meters, and then I would do a 100-meter walk. And the 100-meter walk or light jog was my recovery time. And that essentially was like a 60-second that was my rest. And I fared really well with it. And then when I switched it up to, all right, I'll do 100 meters and then a 50-meter recovery, it just went to hell after that, because I wasn't getting the adequate amount of rest. So, I mean, we have to understand our bodies at the end of the day, and we have to understand what it takes for our bodies to, recover in short periods of time. And it was in one of your questions where you said, what's one thing that I've learned from all the interviews? And that's one thing I've learned from everyone I've talked to. You'll get into that later, so I'll save that one.
It's good. I was going to ask you what motivated you to start the Project Kuwait podcast and your colleagues, and what was the initial idea, and how did it evolve with the time to become what it's now?
And to go back to what you said when you introduced me, we are the number one downloaded podcast right now in Kuwait and in the GCC. We are also, I would think, probably globally. Some people don't know this, especially in Kuwait. Kuwait's our backyard. I've said it from day one, like, Kuwait's our backyard. We shouldn't have to fight for market share here. But globally, that's where the real fight is, and that's where my focus is, because I want to grow this, because there are so many trainers like yourself here in Kuwait that aren't known internationally. And these episodes, it's a bank for everyone out there so that they can learn. And that's where my focus is. I want to grow this so people know we have smart people in Kuwait. We have some of the best trainers in the world. We have people like yourself that offer online programs. And hopefully that's what will come out of this. And we have a 40% global share. So 60% of our listeners are in Kuwait. 40% of them are outside of Kuwait, which is amazing. I love that. I love that about us.
Very good.
And we started, I wanted to start a podcast in 2009. I bought a microphone and attached to my Mac, everything. And then I chickened out, didn't launch the episodes, and regretted it since. So when I hit, I'd say 35, like a couple of years ago, I looked at things and I was like, all right, I need to do this now. And I need to stop saying I'm going to do this and then just wait for it to happen. I need to actually get things done in the moment, right away, and stop procrastinating. And that's been the best decision I've made. My wife hates this, because now if I'm like, all right, well, let's buy a car, I'll go buy a car. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah,
not the
yeah,
whole I'm going to wait and think about it, because you think about it, and once you start to think about it, you self-doubt sets in and all this stuff sets in. So I approached Meg, or well, actually I approached Liam at the time. He was a partner in the project and we had some business differences, so we split up, but I approached Liam because I knew of him at the time as a trainer in our gym, real nice guy. And went up to him. I said, hey, I have this idea. Would you be interested? He said, yes. And I said, this is who I have in mind as a third person, because I wanted to have a female presence, which was Meg. And me and Meg hit it off right away. Me and Meg actually met on the Mind Pump forum. And it was because I had from a physical therapist I went to. She said I had a back issue, so I posted my back thing. Meg jumped on. She's like, you're fine. And that's how we met. And it kind of took off wheels from there. As soon as they said they were in, I ordered, all of the recording equipment, got all of that in. Once we got the recording equipment, I said, all right, guys, let's record. And till this day, I'm actually looking for the first episode we recorded. It was at Caribou Coffee, and it was just us shooting the breeze to see how we flowed together. And I can't wait till I find that, because when I find it, I want to launch that episode later on.
yeah.
But that's initially how we got started. And, it was very good because we had a lot of support systems here in Kuwait. A lot of the, the trainers, the high profile trainers supported us at the beginning, and they still continue to do that. And it's people like yourself that have made the Project Kuwait what it is today, by the experts that come to the forefront and give people the knowledge that they need to take their health and fitness and well-being to a different level.
That gave me goosebumps.
Well, I hope that answered the question.
Yeah.
I
But
do ramble, so anytime you want to stop me, just say, hey.
no, it's good. It's good. It's good. I love it. I love the flow you have. But what's the thing you enjoy the most about giving the interviews? Because you actually enjoy it.
Honestly, it's meeting people like you. Like, in all honesty, it's meeting the people who walk through the podcast door. There's so many interesting personalities that I have met over the last 2 years, and just getting the knowledge that you guys have. I mean, look, you said it earlier, I'm a certified trainer. I got certified years ago. I've been in weightlifting my whole life. I know just as much as a lot of the trainers that are out there. But there are people that we can always learn from, and to think that we only possess the answers, you're just foolish, because everyone has something different you can pick up, and it's the trainers like you guys that are real and authentic that come on the show, that have great stories, that have gone through the trenches. That's what I love about my job, and I love about what I do. And on the flip side, it's bringing good information to people, at no cost. I think right now in the world, everyone has an agenda and they're trying to pump something out for themselves. But for the project, and me and Meg agreed, we're probably not going to sell anything till at least we're, 5, 6, 700 episodes in, just because we want to try and give as much free content as possible and provide resources for everybody out there so that they can better their lives. Because that's what it comes down to, like, it's almost like community service, to be honest with you.
Uh-huh. Define the Project Kuwait then.
The Project Kuwait. I mean, that's a heavy question. That's a heavy question.
I like a lot the description you have in, I think it's in iTunes.
The what?
In iTunes for the podcast, I think you have a very good description. Actually, I think I found it there, one of your sources, and I really liked it. But like, I know this is a difficult one in a way, but if you have to specify it in 1 or 2 or 3 words, like a marketing concept, how would you describe it? Because I think there's so much soul in what you do. So 3 words.
Oh, that's a tough one. No one's ever asked me that. In 3 words, that's a real tough one. I would say authentic knowledge. That's
You
it. Like
reduce it to
that's all
two.
that, you know.
You reduce it into two words. Authentic.
What?
I like that. I like that a lot. You reduce it into two words instead of I give you three.
Yeah.
It's very good. Authentic
I,
knowledge.
I'm
Yeah.
that's what it comes down to, because there are so many people out there, and we talked about this on the podcast, that pass up so much BS on the market right now, and the fitness industry for years has played off of the insecurities of everybody out there who wants to lose weight and fit a specific mold, and that's just not reality. That's just not reality. Our genetics have a factor. Our lifestyles have a factor. If you work behind a desk versus working as a trainer all day, I mean, trainers put in a lot of hard work. I'm not taking anything away from them, but there's a difference when you can walk around and interact with people versus sitting behind a desk. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
big difference. And that's all we want to do, is just present authentic knowledge and cut out the BS that's in the industry right now that fools people into. For instance, there was someone who posted today to women saying, "Women, please don't believe everything you see on Instagram. There are a lot of ladies out there that post pictures of themselves and it's photoshopped and whatever else." And that's the shit that we need to stop, because we're turning it into a vanity thing versus a health thing. And right now, working out and exercising is extremely crucial with the pandemic we have that's going on right now. People who are obese are at high risk versus people like you and me who work out and have a good cardiovascular system. We may bounce back from this easy, but
Mm.
it's just, it sucks because people are turned off by seeing the shredded six pack or the shredded seven pack guy, versus, because you think, oh, I want to do that. You do it for a week, you don't see results, and then you're like, all right, I'm done. And it's such a bad trap, and I hate it. So that's us, like, just to get people to walk again and be healthy, I guess.
Yeah, it's true. It's so true. Especially in Kuwait, one of the countries that have the most tummy tuck operations, stomach reductions. At the same time, like being locked down for me as caring for this country, it's something like, oh, change must start in your head. Like you need to be willing to change your habits from the inside. And then once you get a facility or a shortcut, like it's an operation, you didn't earn it. If you don't know how to maintain it, it makes it so complicated to actually, because when you earn something and you earn, I have some of the people I work with that they were obese and they work themselves to the body, and some of them are watching. I know you're there. They work themselves to the body that they have right now. And they might complain like, oh, I have this extra skin or I have this other thing, but like, I don't know, like, but the thing I try the most while I'm doing the coaching sessions is make them understand that they got there by themselves. They they did it. They did it for themselves. It's just like I'm so proud of them. This kind of things like changing the mentality for whatever issue you had in your life that made you reach to that point to being able to actually swap and to change to something else. You're already doing something that the majority of the population is not able to do. So you should feel super proud of it and you should spread it because you're real. Many of the people that is out there, they may be walking around with a six pack and they're not happy. And I
Oh,
had a six pack. I
100%,
was
yeah.
not the most happy person when I had the six pack. The other way around, I was so limited. There was so many things I couldn't do. I couldn't go out with my friends. I couldn't go eat. I had to sleep at this time. I had to work out at this time. It was a whole process just for that objective. And then it's not something I think we should will to have all year long. Even so, there is people which they can do it with their lives. And it matches their lifestyle. They're
No,
commenting.
oh, I didn't even see that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah,
No, and
mm,
I think you touched on something that's really important, and I think this is where I flipped the switch, because like you, I tried the bodybuilding thing, and I got myself down to, I think 6-7% was the lowest I got down, and I wasn't really happy, to be honest with you.
yeah,
And at one point I lost my intent, and I've said it on so many episodes on the project, where you have to have that intent to train or intent to do something. If you have that intent, then you have that purpose. And when you have that purpose, you work harder towards that goal. And for me, yes, I want to live a healthy lifestyle, but my intent and my purpose is, when I'm 55, I want to still be able to beat my son in a basketball game. Like that's my intent. My purpose is to lead a healthy lifestyle so that my son could see me doing that, and I lead him by example. And I think people really, for me, it was soul searching. That's how I got to where I was in fitness. And look, being healthy doesn't just mean a six pack and eating, salads with, boiled chicken all day. I mean, that's no life to live. Bodybuilders like yourself, when you guys compete, that's part of what you have to do to prep. It's part of
But
it's
that's not
part of the
healthy.
game. Yeah, it's not.
I
Yeah,
don't.
no, and you said that. I love that about you when you were on the show. You said that, but it's part of the game, right? Like
Yeah.
it's like basketball. You play to win, and in order to play to win, you have to eat boiled chicken and go through that protocol, and then the sodium loading and all the crazy stuff that you guys have to go through. And in all honesty, the discipline that takes is unlike any other sport, because it is so difficult to do. So like I really tip my cap to you, in all honesty.
Yeah, it's hard because it's 24 hours a day. It's what you eat, how much you sleep, and when the vitamins, the supplements, the micros, the macros. It's an amazing world, honestly. But if you want to do it like like the real the big professionals, when I had the chance to meet some of them from close, and it's just amazing. You really know how to. You need to know yourself a lot. The people around you need to know yourself and have like a big support. And this is for everyone. Everyone who wants to start a life change is always going to be criticized. Like even when I started and I walk everywhere with my Tupperwares, and I would check the menu before ordering, and I will ask about the restaurant where we were going to go if I could like sneak and see with the foods before. And I got so many complaints from my friends, and I'm like, Alas, you want to eat burger fries, you eat it. Like, why do you care what I eat? What's your issue
Hmm.
with it? Why do I make you feel bad with it? Or even friends were telling me like, oh, you don't eat enough. I actually eat more than you. But see, it's just like
It's
they try to
yeah.
change your mind. No, it's not good. Everybody can do whatever they want.
No,
So it's
and
tough.
you brought up a good point. Like I remember my cousin's birthday, and I went, and it was a Chinese food restaurant. And it was good, like it was good food. It was like fish and whatever else. And I remember saying, "Oh no, I'm on a diet. I can't eat that stuff. It's not in my meal plan." And now I look back at it, and when I eat now, I eat for fuel. I train
Yeah, yeah,
CrossFit. It's hardcore. Like if
yeah.
I go without like 200-300 grams of carbohydrates, oh my God, I'm junk during a workout, and my power's diminished, everything. So, and actually I go higher than that on carbs. Sometimes I go to 500 grams. It doesn't, for me, I eat to fuel my body now. That's the biggest difference, where I was a few years ago to now. I see food as a fuel source, and within reason, of course. That doesn't mean, and this is what I hated about the bodybuilding industry is, oh, if it fits your macros, the IIFYM. That is one thing that I absolutely hated, because they would say, oh, you can have a Big Mac if it fits your macros, but a Big Mac isn't the same as a chicken breast with broccoli and brown rice. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
would, and that's, I think, some of the things that the bodybuilding industry destroyed, um, from an eating perspective, as well as CrossFit coming out with the whole paleo thing, and like the cult like of, oh, you can only eat paleo, like our ancestral eating. And then some guy came out and said, hey, yeah, we had bread 1,000 years ago. So why aren't you guys eating that too? And then it just,
Yeah.
the menu started growing because these idiots realized they couldn't just survive on, meat all day. You know what I
Meat
mean?
and
Like,
yeah.
meat and broccoli isn't going to do it for you. Like, you have to have starches. You have to have potatoes, sweet potatoes. So I just think it's funny how every exercise modality will come out, and then the new diet trend will come out, and it's all the same crap at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I'm
So
sure
I
you
like a
can
lot.
attest to that.
Yeah, I've done many different diets, but the like the how to say it, like the channel or like the door that I'm liking more that it's opening, it's more based into the energetic way of eating. So let's say, or what I'm trying is not eating food that is dead. So everything that's alive is like seeds and like raw vegetables and a lot of raw food. By the end, it maintains better the nutrients and the energy, let's call it, or like the good thing from the universe. Let's just say it like that.
Yeah.
The more you modify the food, the more processed, the more refined it is, the more harmful it is for your body and your energy levels. But there is people that they might eat clean a lot, but the energy level is so low, and it's just so related to what you're eating. That's what you were saying. Okay, Big Mac is not the same as a chicken breast. They're both
Yeah.
dead, but it's more processed than the other one. So your blood test might be good, your body might evolve as well, but it's something inside of you that is not going to be feeling as well. This is the same when you surround yourself with people that is like such a good vibe, or you surround your people that it's just always negative and down. By the end, that's going to get you. So with the food, it's the same thing. I like the quantum physics side of it. And like they have ways to measure how energetic is the food and how positive.
Yeah.
I'm getting a little freak now. But it's true. It's the same with the colors. If you eat red, it's for your blood. If
Oh,
the
yeah.
colors of
Yeah.
the food. And so I find nutrition is an amazing subject also that as bodybuilder, I messed up a lot because I was like, oh no, I need to eat rice. And if I went 1 gram over, I would pick the rice and take it out of my plate. I swear this is how freak I was when I started, and I think it's good to get freak in the beginning for anything because that's what makes you really live what you're doing. You know, if someone is a
Yeah.
runner, they must think of running. If someone is a soccer player, they go with the soccer ball everywhere, but for a limited amount of time, I think. If it
Yeah.
goes too far,
That's the thing, and I think the fitness industry has created the most eating disorders in the world, to be honest with you. And that's,
yeah,
whether it's through, me and Meg have always had the argument of I've been one to measure, and Meg says no, she doesn't like measuring because it can turn into a disorder. It definitely
yeah.
can. And I mean, you'd love Dr. Dinka.
Think
She's on the show. We have Psyched with Dr. D every Tuesday. You would love to have her on your show. She could go on about eating disorders and the
Ooh, another
psychology. She's a
show.
psych. Oh yeah, she's a psych.
I
No,
have a lot.
she's an amazing licensed psychologist here in Kuwait. She used to be my professor at the American University, and that was she recently joined the project last June. I would say we started Psyched with Dr. D every Tuesday, and we also have every other Thursday, Expats Abroad. Meg has her own show that she does right now, which is called Expats Abroad. So that's a fun one. She interviews people, that have come to Kuwait or live abroad, just so they can get to know the community. So
Uh-huh.
besides the Sunday show. So right now we've got 3 shows going.
Nice. No, I like it. It's sharing wisdom, as you said. It's impure and
Yeah.
from pureness. I think besides the food thing, other thing that's going to be on start right now, it's real people.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
no joke. Like I think we're all fed up of this all influencers with all this Chanel and la. And by the end, when you get to know them, they're not even real happy. And why would you want to follow someone that is not happy? And then there is some people here that I know as influencers, and I had the chance to actually speak with them, and you can see they're happy, like for real. They
Yeah.
didn't do it for the fame. They did it because they wanted to share it. And I think this we talked about it in the last interview I did, but I think it's a good thing for everyone to unfollow all those people that doesn't make you feel good and doesn't add anything into your life, and follow people like this guy and his podcast. Just true, because
Thank you.
you're sharing something from your heart with people in Kuwait and in other countries that actually have something to say. So it's interesting. You get a new topic every time, and it's always with the same aim of sharing. So what's bad about of sharing knowledge and sharing true things and true stories? It's, to me, it's much more interesting than watching a show of how to do something with X makeup, or it's just adding value into your life.
And
Mm,
yeah, and I mean that's it. You nipped it right in the bud. And in all honesty, like I don't do it for fame. I don't do it for any of that stuff. I could care less, to be honest with you. You know, like I mean, it's not something that I've always been in. I've always been in the business of helping people. I've been a baseball coach for 15 years. I've coached ki hundreds of kids over the last 15 years. I've done every bit of it for free. I've never taken money. I did private coaching for kids, and that I did charge for, and I hated it, but I had to set a value for my time,
yeah,
because I had learned when I started telling kids, "Oh, show up for free," they would never show up, you know. And but when you tell someone to pay for it, they're going to show up.
yeah.
So it makes a big difference. But I don't mean to cut this short, but we got futur coming up soon. So yeah,
True, true.
yeah. So and I got cooking duty. I'm making
Mm,
the steak tonight. So
nice. Nice. Then let me go fast. What's something people seem to misunderstand about your show?
I think people sometimes get turned off by how real we are. And when people do get turned off by that, maybe the show isn't for them. It's not meant for them at that time. Whether they still have to kind of come to glimpse of, because not every show is meant for everybody. Our show, we're very real, we're very authentic, and you know you were talking about being honest earlier. What we have a T-shirt that says gluten free, dairy free, bullshit free. You know, so
I need one.
that's us. Oh, I'll get you one. I'll definitely get you one. 100%. I'll definitely get you one of those. And that's us. And you know, we swear on the show, so sometimes people get turned off by the swearing. And when we started the show, I told Meg and Liam, I was like, look, I want to be the first Kuwaiti show that has no boundaries. The only things we don't talk about is religion and politics, but other than that, everything is fair game. And we've stuck true to that. And some people love that about us. And others say, oh, it's disgusting. You guys use bad language and whatever. Okay, well, it's not the show for you. You know, like it's
Yeah,
not for you. It's not meant for you. It's meant for someone that doesn't want to have the PC, the filter all the time. You know, like, and that's us. If you filter everything all the time, you're never real.
exactly.
So, I mean, that's really what it is. It's losing that filter. Some people like it, some people don't like it. And the ones who don't like it usually are the ones who should listen to the show, especially the psyched ones, because that, you know, they're not being real with themselves.
Yeah, totally agree. It's true. And then two more. Where do you see
Yeah,
the
go ahead.
Project Kuwait going to in the future? I can see you going more mainstream, more totally can see you.
I
Like
mean,
video, we want to see your face.
in all honesty, I mean, I mean, you say video, and we've thought about going on YouTube, and we thought about, you know, creating programs and creating, you know, how-to programs and everything, and you know, exercises to put on our website and everything. But there are so many people like you that do it so much better and that have better, you know, that come up with different things. That's not our realm. Our realm is sound and entertainment and information. You know, we're
Yeah,
entertainment and information. And I hope and I pray that in 5 years, I can look back at doing this interview right here and know that I'm saying this now, that one day that we could help be leaders in this society to fight obesity in Kuwait, because I think that's a
that would be
problem that
amazing.
no one's looking at. And 5 years down the line, we have plans, and it's not to be just mainstream and popular and whatever else. I mean, it's mainly to just help people and make sure that we can bring down, maybe we have the record for them being the most obese country right now, but let's have the record for going from worst to first. You know, that would be a
It would be
great thing to
amazing.
accomplish. And for us, it's to bring more people to the microphone, you know, just to get more people. I mean, we've had some very high profile people from the United States and from Kuwait on the show. We've had Marcus Philly on, we've had Adam Schaefer, Sal DiStefano, we've had Dr. Vera on, and we want to bring all these people. We want to keep bringing that umbrella and making it bigger and bigger for Kuwait so that people have that resource. Okay, I have a sugar addiction. What's a resource? Okay, let's go listen to the Project Kuwait. Dr. Vera's episode, she wrote a book on sugar addiction.
Yeah.
So that's really the goal, is to just arm people with these resources and hopefully one day set the stage for something bigger for the Project Kuwait to accomplish for society.
That's an amazing goal, though, to fight for obesity. That's, I wish it did happen here and everywhere in the sugar addiction and the market. So last one, where can we find you? Because I can talk about obesity and the thing for so long. I don't want to steal your time. I completely forgot about food too. Sorry.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. It's just I got cooking duty. I'm like, oh man, I totally forgot I have to cook the steaks tonight.
Yeah.
But we're
Such
on
an
all major
American.
podcasts.
I mean, such an American thought. I could hear your Jimmy saying that. Oh, I have to cook steak.
Yeah, that, and I'm praying for the dust to fall so that I can get my workout in tonight, because it's wicked dusty out, and I'm just like, oh man, I can't work out in this. You know, my allergies will just kick up, and right now the last thing I want is to have a headache and a runny nose.
No. So where can we find you in the Project Kuwait? How can we follow you?
You can find us at www.theprojectkuwait.com. You can stream all of our episodes on our website. You can stream all of our episodes on any podcast platform, the podcast app on iTunes. You can find us there. You just search the Project Kuwait. Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud. We're across on every major platform. And one thing that we're going to do, and we're on the fence, is, do we want to keep calling ourselves the Project Kuwait because we're pigeonholed in Kuwait? But it's so easy to search. When you type in the Project, we pop up right away. So that's why I stick with the name, the Project Kuwait. And yeah, you can find us on anything, and definitely we answer all of our DMs. If anyone has a question or people want resources, we post resources on our Instagram. We have our little tab that says trainers or recommended coaches. That's usually everyone that's been on our show. And yeah, I mean, we're here. We're always around.
Good. I will leave all the links in the description, Instagram and YouTube, so everybody can find you in the bottom of the description. And thank you so much, Mahdi, for today. It's been amazing. I'm sure it's not going to be the last one because we have to talk about this thing. I really want to do something with you related with fighting the obesity and sharing some wisdom, because it must start to change with the thought and the new generation, and then everybody will follow. It's not only changing on the food, it's changing, not willing to eat it, how to manage my anxiety, why am I eating like this? So it's a huge topic that I love to talk about. So, gracias.
Yeah, no, 100%. I'll pass on Dr. Dinka's info to you also,
please.
So you can get in touch with her.
Please,
I'm sure you would enjoy it. Thank you so much for having me on. It was such an honor, and you know, I loved having you on the project. Hopefully, you're going to back on soon once this craziness is all over.
Inshallah. Well, thank you so much.
Inshallah. Thank you. Have a good day. Thanks.
You too. Bye. Bye. Good. This was all for today. You're going to find all the links in the bottom. I'm going to have to shut the video because we've been talking about for 1 hour. Si hablo castellano. I speak Spanish and Spanish. Thank you so much for everyone for watching. Gracias a todos por vernos y nos vemos en el siguiente. Bye. Adiós.